Are you looking for easy ways to use up some 12 by 12 pattern paper for card making without leaving yourself a bunch of scraps and things to deal with? Hi, I'm Jess from JessCrafts.com, and I'm here to help you make the most of your crafty supplies and time. So let's get making. Today I have 12 by 12 paper busting template for A2 cards number 29. That means there are 28 other ones available at JessCrafts.com, and then this particular one is the very first link in the video description. You can download them all individually for free at JessCrafts.com, or if you'd rather just get one file, easy peasy, you can go to my Etsy shop and pick up the pack, and all 30 will be just in one easy to print file. So, I'm going to take some 12 by 12 pattern paper. Today, I'm going to make Mother's Day cards. You can do this for absolutely any theme you want. Mother's Day is coming up. People like to see ideas for the holidays that are coming at the time the videos are released, but you can try this out any time of year. I'm going to start by cutting off the branding strip to make it a 12 by 12. This is the Make-A-Wish Birthday Girl from Opaque Paper, so it's definitely not necessarily meant for Mother's Day, but I think it's important to consider your papers outside of the holidays and that kind of thing that they are sent for, because otherwise we kind of go, well, I don't need any birthday cards, and so then our paper's languishing instead of seeing some of its potential. But let's look at the template. The template says that we're going to need 4 by 1 inch strips, and 4 of those for each card. And then we are going to put mats around them. They're going to be 1/4 inch bigger, so it's going to be 4 1/4 by 1 1/4. Then we're going to take a 2 by 4 inch piece for our focal point. Important to note, this does work with directional pattern paper. My pattern paper today isn't particularly directional, but I love a template that works with it, I designed them, so I guess I'm always in control of that, but I love when an idea comes together and it works for directional pattern paper. So we're going to cut our 12 by 12 piece of paper into 4 by 12 inch strips. And then we need to cut some 1 inch strips from this. Now, you'll notice that I put my 1 inch strips at the top and the bottom. That was strictly so it would be a little bit more clear, hey, this is one card, this is another card, this is another card. You can actually just cut them, which, you could just cut 8 1 inch strips and then leave the 2 by 4s from the top or whatever like that. But I just kind of like to show it in a way that I think is most clear to, where you get all the pieces you need for a card. Sometimes I color code them with other sketches, but they look a little busy when I do it with the 12 by 12 because it makes 6 cards, which is quite a bit in some ways, because there's going to be 6 different colors on my template there, but at the same time, making 6 cards with 1 sheet of 12 by 12 paper isn't too bad. I've certainly seen some where they're like, here's, you can do a no scrap, like a 1 sheet wonders. And they're like, it makes 10 cards. And I was like, I just don't need that many cards. So I try to limit myself to 6 when I have my ideas. Every once in a while, I get it down to 4, like I did for my last template. And I feel especially proud. And then I'm going to cut this last 4 by 4 inch piece. 4 by 4, I cut 8 1 inch pieces off. And I'm going to cut it to 2 inches. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that this is double-sided paper. You absolutely don't need double-sided paper, but I'm going to have the confetti on one side and the plaid on the other side. Now, as you can see, because I've cut these all out of the same row, all my plaid lines line up. So if you have a paper that you want to consider how they line up, then you might want to sort of keep these off to the side. What I usually do in that case is I'll just take one of my scrapbook.com trays because they are handy for me, and I'll put all the pieces that go together in a tray, and then they also stack, so that helps me. You can also put them in bags, but if I'm not going to be, I'm going to use them right away, I don't want to put them in bags. That actually is more time consuming. So we'll keep going. I'll cut my other 2 4 by 12 inch strips the same way and put them aside. I already have enough for 2 cards. That'll get me up to enough for 6 cards. So even though this is going to make 6 cards, and there's kind of a lot of pieces in a way, there are 5 pieces for each card, which does make it take a little longer to put together than some of my other simpler sketches. It's pretty efficient on cardstock, which is always fun too, because I like to make good use of my supplies. So I have, if I take my 8.5 by 11 piece of pattern or cardstock here, I need a 4 1/4 inch piece. And so of course I could just cut that 8 1/2 in half and I'll get this 4 1/4 inch strip. And then I can go and cut 1 1/4 off until I have all 4 pieces I need for a card. And then of course I keep going because I need enough for 6 cards, but still, as you could see, that's gonna lead me to not really having very many scraps. It's just gonna be like whatever is left at the end of the piece of paper. So I keep going 1 1/4. I haven't actually done the math on this yet, so we're about to find out if this makes sense. I'm at 3 1/2. And then if I go one more 1 1/4, I'm at 2 1/4. And the math is so perfect, guys. I'm like literally surprised right here myself. That's the piece that you need for the larger piece. You need a 2 1/4. So let's see. I don't usually make like templates for this, but you will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the one you need on the end. So it's not gonna work out like perfectly long term because we're gonna need 4 times 6 is 24 of these 4 1/4 by 1 1/4 inch pieces, and then only 6 of these, but it's pretty good. And we're not gonna have a ton of cardstock waste, so that's gonna feel good. I mean, of course, use your scraps first too, if that works better for you. But in these instances where I can do a pretty good job of getting it out of cardstock exactly if I start a new sheet, I am definitely tempted to just go ahead and start that new sheet of cardstock and save my scraps for a project that, you know, isn't as easily divisible. So I'm gonna go ahead, keep cutting cardstock till I get what I need. Like I said, there's gonna be a little bit of scraps eventually in the process, but pretty efficient. I had to share, like, again, I didn't do the math on this ahead of time, so I'm just as shocked. But this is the only scrap of cardstock I have left. I started with 2 full sheets of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. I cut the first 3 strips of 4 1/2 by 11, like I showed you, where it worked out perfectly. And then the last one, I had 3 more 1 1/4 inch strips, and I was able to get the other 3 2 1/4. I know it's a lot of measurements, but for those of you who want to try to do it. And then this little 1/2 inch piece was all that's left. And you guys know what I'm going to do with this, or anybody who's watched my channel for a long time. I'll put some adhesive on that and turn it into fake foam tape. So now I can put that on like underneath an embellishment later to pop it up, and then then my cardstock scrap is used. And also just toss that too. Like, I mean, if you love saving your cardstock scraps, by all means, but like that would feel pretty good to me. All right, so I had all my pieces in my trays and they're enough for each card. So now I'm ready to assemble my cards. Oh, I thought I had all my adhesive on all of them. Okay. So I'm putting down the mats first, which is just the strip of cardstock that we cut that goes around each particular piece of pattern paper. And I'm doing this mostly because I wanted to tape it all before I turned on my camera so you don't have to hear all that noise and all of that. But also sometimes what I find is that even though I've measured my card to 4 1/4 and I've measured these to 4 1/4, sometimes they're not perfect. So if like it's overhanging a little bit like this one is, I have this opportunity to trim it off and then center my patterned paper around what's left. So, you know, if you don't do it that way and you just put all of your pattern paper on top first and then tape them down, that's fine. You can still trim it off. But now I can just kind of make things lined up a little bit more. I also think my card is like crooked or something because there's like, that line's crooked, but you probably don't even notice that if I don't point it out. Your mom won't. I don't know, maybe they will. I suppose it's fair that there are people out there who notice that kind of thing more than others. But I'm gonna line up my plaid stripes so that they're all in line here, like against the edge, which is why one of the nice things about putting the mats down first, and that the lines of the colors of the plaid match up, because that is what I wanted to do this time. And I decided to put the plaid as the background because it's actually the one you see more in this particular set of cards. The piece that will be the confetti is a little bit smaller, so there's less used of it. And I thought, well, the confetti is totally great for Mother's Day, in my opinion. We are, after all, celebrating moms. It is, you know, certainly the more birthday part of the patterned paper, so I'd make it the smaller thing. Okay, and then that's the basic design of the card. So as you can see, I've just followed the sketch and laid everything out. And then you can go to town embellishing it however you see fit. So I have these printables. I can show you what the full set looks like. So you can get these in my Etsy shop, and they come as PDFs and as JPEGs. So you can make them whatever size you want and print as many as you want as JPEGs, or the PDFs are already pre-sized so that you can print them off quickly. But those print pretty large, so they're more suited for treats or tags to hang on things. And these are for Mother's Day. And so we have cheers to you, happy Mother's Day, fluttering by to say happy Mother's Day, you warm my heart, happy Mother's Day, and you make my heart bloom. I specifically did not add mom, grandma, aunt, anything like that, because we all have different names for what we call the mother figures in our life, and it's not always as simple as your mom. You know, there are other people that you want to celebrate on Mother's Day who maybe don't fit the traditional saying. So I would never be able to have them all. So I just did happy Mother's Day. And I think that I'm a big fan of being really encouraging at any and all holidays. So maybe there's a young mom who, is one of your neighbors, and just giving her a little something would feel good for you too, because we always like to encourage others. That's we're card makers. And so, moms work hard. We all know that. A lot of us have been moms. And so I think it's a great reason to celebrate. And then we're going to I chose to make them a little bit smaller, and I'm using You Make My Heart Bloom today, but they'll all work pretty well with this. And as you can see, I make it so that there is a color version, a black and white version, and a blank version. So you could stamp your own thing here. You could put your, if you're giving them out as treat tags, put a little, your little piece of treat there, like a little candy, or maybe if you print it big enough, you could put your little gift card or a tea bag or something there, or you can color your own. That also makes it great for kids. So say you're helping your grandkids make Mother's Day cards, they could go in and color them themselves. You could print this off for them. So just some different thoughts. I kind of try to make them with card makers in mind, and I know the kind of things we like to do. So I'm going to be able to keep going till I have all 6 of my cards. Kept going till I completed all of the cards. I picked different ones of the tags for different cards just to kind of mix it up a little bit, kind of cater it towards the person I'm giving it to. And I also decided to use the same pattern paper on some of them just to show you that single-sided paper will absolutely work with this sketch. It's kind of nice to break it up if you do have the double-sided patterned paper. And then one last tip, when you go to print something like this, you get Creative Fabric images, I know a lot of you guys like these, or if you go pick these up over in the Etsy shop, and they will be on sale the week that I release the video. It's kind of just a release week promotion. But if you're having trouble with them not printing too well, you do, at least my printer, it has to be cleaned occasionally. And I will sometimes avoid that for way too long, even though it's actually the printer takes care of itself. But just check your printer and see if there's a clean setting or something like that you might have to take care of. If you found this video helpful, here's another video where you could find more ideas for enjoying your crafty time and supplies. Let me know you like this video with a share to your crafty community, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next template or tutorial, and check the video description for product links. See you in the next video.